Welcome ladies! My name is Evelyn Wood and this is my show Thrift to Vintage, where I take used, unloved, sometimes a little daggy thrift store clothes and I transform them into beautiful vintage styled outfits. Refashioning is not only a great way to save yourself a few dollars, but by using secondhand clothing and items that would usually probably already end up in landfill, it is one of the best ways that we can create a more sustainable fashion system as well. For now, let's get started and let me show you how I created these two different versions. You may or may not know that I also run VintageSewingSchool.com. This is my online sewing school and I have just created a new online workshop, actually my first online workshop, the Simple Ladies Blouse Refashion. As you know, I've been doing workshops in person and creating like this blouse in the background here that I get so many questions about. It is a step-by-step video lesson instruction workshop aimed at the very beginner. Now some of you guys, pretty experienced at sewing and you see me do these refashions, you can look at this and just think, oh yeah, I can see what you're doing there and I can do, yep, I got it, okay. Great, because you can just go ahead and do it. But the rest of you, I know, are sitting there thinking like every time you pick up the scissors and you're going to cut it and it's like, too scared to make that first cut because you don't know what to do. That is where this workshop comes in. I will talk more about that later, but this is where we're at today. I have used the step-by-step instructions in that workshop to create these two blouses. Think about it like the bones, the core center refashion that is like downsizing it, how to shorten the sleeves, how to shorten the hem, how to get everything even in the process, how to take off the collar, and even how to make that bow. And now this is where you get to put your own like style stamp on it and create some embellishments, and that's how we're going to create two different versions of the same refashion. Enough talking, I'm going to show you what decorations I have planned for the version number one. Number two we'll set aside for now. I get asked about this yellow blouse that I've had on my mannequin so many times. It is ridiculous. So basically this is that refashion right here that I'm going to show you today on this one. So all it is the basic refashion, which is done. I've done it with the bow, and now it's time for the decoration, which all it's going to be is a little lace. Now I already have a yellow top with white lace. I'm instead going to use this velvet ribbon that I have. It's like a navy color. It probably looks black on the screen there because you know how much I love navy. I'm actually thinking to put 2 rows of the velvet down at the center so it gets that sort of center double stripe. There's just enough room in between the buttonhole to still allow the button to go through underneath. So I'm going to do those 2 first. I'm going to be super duper sneaky and I'm actually going to unpick where the collar stand sits in and insert the velvet ribbon into that and then restitch it down so it looks super duper neat and tidy. To sew on the lace on this original one, I actually used a zigzag stitch because it was more invisible, as it sort of didn't form a straight line. It was the zigs are more invisible and it made the lace stay on better. So just if you're doing lace, just experiment. Get a test piece of the lace and see whether a straight stitch or a small zigzag or a larger zigzag looks better into holding it on. Just test it first. For the velvet ribbon, I simply did a straight stitch down either side and it works really well. So again, I'm going to be sneaky and on the inside of this collar stand, I'm going to unpick it so I can insert it down here. But don't worry if that's too tricky and complicated, just do what I did on this original lace one and I simply just folded under the edge really neatly and just do that. But what I'm thinking is I'm going to make little crosses. So I'm thinking to pop it through here, underneath, just kind of twist it around, make a little square so that it comes up on this side and I'm going to have like this, yeah? Okay, let me get to work pinning this on. Wait. One more thing. Very, very important. when you are putting this on, make sure that where you go over and under, make sure they match on either side. So on this one, for example, this piece comes down here and this side is underneath this long side here, and it's the same on both. You don't want this one over here, but it's this one over the top on that side. It'll look so weird. Make sure that you even those up, okay? Because I have to make everything more complicated than it really needs to be, I'm going to actually unpick this pocket, add some blue velvet trim to match what's going on here, and then reattach the whole pocket back on so all of the edges of the ribbon are folded in and tucked under the pocket so it looks absolutely perfect. Did you see where I put the rest of the velvet trim? Oh, found it. Okay, more big decisions. This one is the buttons. Again, because I like to overcomplicate things and can never do it simple, it's always got to be extra. Went through all of my buttons. I only had these sort of pewter ones, no navy ones that actually fit and were right. So these are the original ones, of course, and they're a little bit yellow plastic. They actually don't look too bad at all. Or I could do these pewter ones. So I'm not sure. I could do them, could even, like this sort of thing. But then it becomes really about the buttons and it kind of detracts from the stripes, don't you think? Go without, keep the little yellow ones, keep it about the stripes. I think I'm going to choose to just keep the buttons as they are. They're pretty cute. They've got a little tint of yellow, and I think the pewter ones just kind of take away from the magic that is those velvet stripes. So I'm going to keep them there for now. You never know, I might change them in the future, but for now, they're staying as is. Of course I did the bow as well. Have we even met? This could be my favorite one yet that I've done. Okay, it's time for my version number 2. This one has been constructed in line with version number 2 of the Simple Ladies Blouse. So the collar has actually been taken out and it's just left with the actual collar stand. So it's kind of got a mandarin collar sort of style look to it. It can flip up as it was, or it can sort of flip down like this, which I quite like. And I've jazzed it up with a few little buttons. Now this one in the workshop, I kept sort of a longer sleeve, which I sort of like, but I want to show you how easy it is with those few extra changes and make another version on top of this version. I'm going to turn this into a sleeveless 50s style blouse that you guys all seem to really, really like and can't quite, I know because I've had this conversation with a few of you who've already gone through the workshop, couldn't quite see how that shirt could turn in from this. So I'm going to create it and show you how it will work. All the basic deconstruction and resizing, lengthening, shortening has been done in accordance with the workshop. This Simple Ladies Blouse Refashion version number 2. So all that's left is the stylized parts. And we want to take off the sleeve. I'm going to show you the simplest way I know how to do this. On a men's shirt, you have these flat felled seams. One side here is the seam and this one is stitching. We're actually going to use this and incorporate it into our double turn hem and turn it over and use it as a sort of facing on the other side. So first up, you need to trim it off about 5 millimeters or 1/4 of an inch away from that seam line. going to take it in just a little bit more. This one is really coming along now. That classic 50s look blouse that we've seen before. A lot of them actually have that high sort of mandarin collar neckline in which you just keep it up like this and do that. I quite like it a little bit more open around the neck, and if you've got a nice thick collar stand like this one, you'll probably find it will flip over just like this. Even though it's not designed to do that, you can make it do a few extra things. And to replicate that look from that classic little 50s cute blouse, a lot of them have that little ribbon tie. I think we can all agree that there's just one more thing this one needs. That's black buttons down here for sure. These little clear plastic ones just give it away that it's a really sort of, you know, lower end, not that fancy, but let's see if we can find some fancy buttons that fit in my button collection. It was a toss-up between the plain shank black buttons or these slightly fancy smaller buttons, but these ones won because the bigger ones didn't actually fit through the buttonhole, so that was the deciding factor. These ones look pretty nice though. If you're interested in this workshop in learning how to do all the major things first, you can get the step-by-step for those of you that are brand new to this and you've always been asking me, how do I get started? This is it. It's at vintagesewingschool.com, but I will have a little surprise for you at the very end as well, so stick around with me for just a minute longer. So I might never actually be taking this blouse off. It is perfect, I love it. Well, you know I always talk about what I might do differently next time. So I did not take my own advice and I did not measure out the elastic like I show you how to do in the workshop, and I made it a bit too tight. If you really notice, you'll see in maybe some of the pictures or throughout, it gets a little bit bunchy through here. I'm trying to pull it at the back. It's because it's kind of squishing in a bit tight and it feels a bit constrictive. So just follow the instructions in the workshop and you'll get it better than I did. It's quite remarkable the difference that you can get. The same sort of takedown, a few just tiny little different tweaks creates two completely different blouses. That's what I love about this. You really get to make your own creations. Of course, those of you that already know how to sew will be able to sort of whip these up, no problem. The online workshop that I've created is that step-by-step video lessons that I was talking about, what you need when you're beginning. And this Simple Ladies Blouse refashion is the perfect beginner refashion, I think, to start with. So head on over to vintagesewingschool.com. All of the links are below, of course, because I actually have a special. It'll be a 3-day special. So if you're watching this when it's released, jump down and click that link now and you'll find yourself a little surprise when you get to the other end. It is my goal to see more people sewing and creating their own fashion in this world, and I hope that you'll be one of the next ones. But ladies, the big question is, which is your favorite? Yellow or the sleeveless white? Leave your comments below and tell me which one is your favorite, and maybe if you're going to do a few other tweaks or different color combos, tell me all about it below. Like this video if you liked it, and if you have not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button because you want to know when I make another video, right? And until next time, bye. Ooh. I just totally sliced my finger. Oh, with the snips. There's definitely going to be blood. I'm afraid to look. Oh, there's blood. There's blood. Okay. Let's get away from the white shirt.